Okay everyone, welcome back to another NRG, and this is another NRG request. Street Fighter. You've heard of this game, I'm assuming. Well, at least you've heard of the sequel, Street Fighter 2. This is the first one, the original, the best. No, not the best at all, actually. Probably the worst. But anyway, let's crack on. So this original version of the game, brought out in 1987 from Capcom, sort of laid the foundations for what was to become one of the most revered and heavily known, probably world famous one-on-one fighters on the planet, which is Street Fighter 2. But this is the original, and all we got to do is play as Ryu, or Ryu, or whatever the way you want to say it, and it follows the setup of the original arcade. The characters are all in there. Obviously, there's no sound effects, no selection screens, or anything like that. No two-player mode, it seems, either. Well, at least I can't get that to work, so I don't think there is a two-player mode. So it's as basic and stripped down as you like. And as you can see, we're using a Mode 1 graphics here, which is it's not too bad. The colour choices are a bit dodgy. I mean, that blue is extremely bright, and the red's a lot of red going on there. But yeah, there's some nice stippling on the ground there, and some good stippling on the doors, and yeah, Retsu's stage generally does look like Retsu's stage. It does from the arcade, as do the sprites. Quite large. Ryu looks like Ryu, Retsu looks like Retsu, and all the characters generally look pretty good in the Mode 1 style. What isn't pretty good, however, is the gameplay, for want of a better word, or lack of it. Its responsiveness is really bad. You're hammering away buttons and hardly anything happens. All of a sudden, suddenly a punch comes out, and there we go. And so you really got to. It takes time to practice exactly when you can actually hit, when the button presses will correspond with what you're doing. Yeah, I'm doing some sweeping there. That seemed to work. That's quite effective. Sometimes I'll kick in the air or punch in the air, and even though you're making the command for the punch, which is very strange. Oh, that's effective. I'm giving him lots of punches in the balls there. But, you know, he's a monk. He's not going to be using his balls, is he? Let's be honest. So, this was ported to the CPC in 1988, along with, it was on the Spectrum and the Commodore. And this is basically a Spectrum twisty, porty kind of thing, and the usual Spectrum dump. Oh, I've got him. Nice. Plater 1. No speech. Sound effects are very limited as well, just a few bips and pips and that. Lots of sound, a bit heavy sound effect there on the countdown though. Blimey, a bit loud. Scream again. This is the catchphrase from the original arcade. What strength? But don't forget, the guys all over the world. That's the way it goes, I think. Anyway, here we are with Geki. The stage doesn't change. We're still in Japan, so the stage doesn't change. When you move to a different country, the stage does change. From the American backdrop changes, the English backdrop changes when you get to them as well. Also, they're in a set layout as well. You can't choose what country you want to go to. It's not randomised in that kind of way. You have to follow the way the game just chucks it at you, to be honest. And the movesets, as you can see, are extremely stripped down. Very basic, very broad. Not really any hard punches to light punches or anything like that. It's just basic kicks and punches. The special moves appear to be absent as well. I can't get any of them to work. Any of the traditional special moves for Ryu, anyway, just don't seem to work. And I have tried over the years. But yeah, I mean, parts of it are very faithful to the arcade, and parts of it are generally trying too much to be like the arcade and failing miserably. I suppose that jumping's not bad. It's a bit jerky. Geki doesn't seem to jump up and down and throw the stars, which is what he does in the arcade. He's capped me off there. Another thing as well is that the enemies seem to hit a lot harder than you. So a couple of punches from them will take off about half your energy. A couple of punches from you will take about only a third of their energy off. So that's a bit strange, I've noticed. Especially if you get hit by projectiles or anything like that. Oh, the hit high low combination seems to work well. But yeah, it's disappointing. I mean, the original. Let's be honest. The original Street Fighter on the arcade wasn't much cop, to be honest. it was nowhere near what it was to become. So it's not surprising that it's not brilliant on the CPC. It's passable for us, I suppose, but probably could have done it a lot better. Well, at least we actually got a game. I mean, with Street Fighter 2, we never even got a game. Obviously, there was an on-running gag in the Amstrad Action magazines, and news stories coming out on the magazines at the day between the years of 1991 and 1993 saying that US Gold were going to port Street Fighter 2 to the CPC. Never actually happened. Not officially, anyway. A few years later, a homebrew version was done, which used the engine of this game. So it basically does look like this game, obviously with some of the characters from the Street Fighter 2 chucked in, and a selection screen, and a few added bits and pieces. But generally, the gameplay and the look of that is identical to this, and so do the sound effects, actually. But there is the good news on the horizon is there is a new homebrew version of Street Fighter 2 being developed for the CPC, which looks and sounds absolutely fantastic. The previews look fantastic. I'll leave you a link in the description box to the developer of that to give you a demo of what that's going to look like, because that's amazing. But going back to 1988, this version, it's 50%. I mean, you're talking a 5 out of 10 if I'm going to do that out of 10. Not brilliant, but jerky controls, responsiveness is pretty shoddy, and lots of things seem to be missing. And overall could have been done better. It looks like I'm going to lose here because look how much energy he took off with one hit. Oh dear. Well, anyway, the point is there are lots better examples of one-on-one fighters on the CPC. So that was a request for Lawn Boys Post 1975. Cheers, Dave, for that, and I'll see you next time. Novabug out.